This module covers the request management in Infraon Infinity Suite located on the left panel. Clicking on the Request module will bring forward the request page. A request is a formal or informal demand for service or assistance from the IT department. Whether it's a software installation, hardware upgrades, or access permissions, instead of raising a traditional ticket, one can simply raise a request. The IT admin will then proceed with the request based on approval sequences, provided the request is valid. Both tickets and requests are used to manage user interactions and service delivery. Tickets typically deal with incidents or problems that require resolution, whereas requests focus on fulfilling specific service needs or actions requested by end users. Now, let's understand who can create a request. The first is the end user, who can add a request from the self-service portal. Likewise, technicians can also raise requests from the portal. For instance, if there's a software patch that needs to be applied for all users, a technician can initiate this request directly from the technician portal. To create a request from the technician portal, click on New Request located at the top right corner of the page. Select the end user assigned to the request needed. Next, enter the subject line and fill out the necessary details. Once all the details have been filled in, click on Submit as New to send the request. Once the request is created, it becomes visible in the technician portal. Now, let's take a look at the options available for a request. Upon clicking on a request and navigate to the Request Detail section, one will be able to discern the status, priority, urgency, impact services, request for, and service classification. Plus, if there are any documents attached, they'll be visible here. To make any modifications in the ticket, simply click on the Edit option. Alter the subject line, request type, resource, and other such fields. Additionally, there's the facility to add a ticket, change to this request. Next to it, there's a Communication tab, where the complete communication details for the request are accessible, and a Relations tab to relate any relevant tickets, problems, changes, or reports to this request. Moreover, there's an Attachment section for adding any pertinent documents. Infraon Portal also includes a knowledge base. If there is any related information or can add a knowledge base entry for this request, it will be displayed here. Furthermore, in the Interactions section. For instance, Suraj has raised a new request, which, based on the steps to follow, will be tracked here. Any recent activities, such as modifications to the request, are also recorded in the history. Review them. In addition to this, on the left panel, detailed information on the request, including assignee and requester, can be viewed. Now let's see the process of how a technician can resolve a request. Regarding status, it's determined by the workflow mapped to the request. If approval is not required, it's possible to resolve the issue without approval based on the workflow. For this request, Microsoft Excel, no approval is necessary. Therefore, technicians can resolve this request without approval. Now, after updating and installing the Excel software for the end user, proceed to resolve the request. By clicking Resolve, the request will be marked as Resolved. For details on the approval status configuration, refer to the Request workflow, where this approval status is configured. Notice that the status of the request changes to Resolved, indicating that the installation for the end user is complete and their request has been resolved. This process is part of the Request module in our Infraon suite. Let's examine the other options available on the Request page. For instance, by clicking on this small arrow icon, where all unsolved requests and those that are assigned, resolved, and others can be viewed. Additionally, information on old requests and pending requests can also be viewed. Furthermore, there is a search option available. That allows to search for requests based on request ID, requester name, etc. Additionally, filter can be added based on impact, service, requester name, team, assignment, and creation time related to the request. With these fields, one can effortlessly narrow down the search. Another feature is the auto reload icon, which refreshes the page every 5 minutes to check for new notifications for particular request. Infraon offers different views, such as the grid view and panel view. In the grid view, hover over the mouse to see multiple action keys like clone to duplicate a request and create a new one. By clicking on it, A pop-up of the request will appear. Proceed by adding the requester and creating a new request. Next to it, there's a delete option. To delete a request and an attachment section, to view the attached documents linked to the request, click on the communication icon to view the communications that happened in the request. Along with these, click on More Options to view additional features like recent activities, interactions, and the relationship of this request. This concludes the overview of the request functionalities within the Infraon Infinity Suite.